Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today here on Blind Whiskey Reviews, the most honest reviews on YouTube. Today we're doing another quick sample review, so if you haven't joined me for one of these before, in these two boxes I've got 24 different whiskey samples. These samples were provided by distilleries to review. They have been provided by other people out there in the whiskey world, and they've been bottled by me for whiskeys I've already reviewed, and I've bottled into the sample bottles a few months after the bottle's been opened, so we can kind of see if the whiskey's doing better or worse after having a little bit of airtime. So if this is a whiskey I've reviewed before, I will link it up here in the corner so you can check out the original review before you watch this one if you want. So without further ado, let's get into the whiskey. We've got 24 samples programmed into the random number generator, and tonight we will be tasting sample number 8. So we've got 1, 4, and 8, the last sample in this row. Pour ourselves a touch of whiskey. And put the bottle back here. All right. Let's give it a swirl, get the glass coated a little bit. Strange nose. Got some corn sweetness. Almost like a little bit of like a minty menthol quality I feel like I'm picking up on. Touch of caramel, touch of vanilla. Definitely dominated by like corn, I feel like. Not a ton coming off on the nose though. A little bit of a burn. All right, let's get into the palate here. Cheers. Definitely bringing some warmth, some heat. Feels like it's a touch higher proof. It's got that kind of like building warmth to it. Definitely has some corn sweetness on the palate. I'm kind of sitting here left with some vanilla, some caramel. Hint of a bitterness, maybe like some oaky bitterness to it. Give it another taste here. Yeah, it definitely has some oak flavor to it. Definitely feels like something I've tasted before. I wonder if this is something I've reviewed before that's maybe been open for a while, higher proof. Yeah, definitely got some oaky qualities to it. Yeah, it's got some heat. It's got some flavor. It doesn't have it's not coming across with a ton of complexity. It's not coming across with a ton of flavor either. The flavors aren't incredibly intense. The flavors that are there are good, but it's not bringing me a lot right now in terms of the flavor. So, I'll give it one more taste before I give it a rating. Yeah, it's good whiskey. It's drinkable. It's higher proof. I mean, I'm feeling like we're in that 110 plus category. Definitely has some heat to it. Brings some warmth. It just doesn't bring as much flavor as I feel like it should, and as much complexity as I feel like it should for the proof that it feels like. Sticking to the glass pretty well here. I definitely feel higher proof. So for a rating, this one's kind of tough. I wish I had a little bit more to it, but I think it's decent. I think it's good drink whiskey. I think it's drinkable, and I'm going to give it an 83. Let's see what it is. This is Old Granddad 114. So we nailed the proof on this one. 114 proof. This was open for almost exactly 3 months to when I bottled it. So I feel like when I reviewed this the first time, and again, I don't remember what the original score was. I've already linked the review up here if you want to check that out. I will put the score on the screen so you guys can see what I originally rated it. I feel like it was a similar rating to what I gave it in the first place, although I feel like maybe there's a little bit more flavor when it was freshly opened. I don't feel like right now, after a few months of being open, it's as spice forward as maybe it was when it was fresh. So as I recall this whiskey, and I reviewed this in 10 months ago, so don't trust my memory. I don't really have 100% recollection of what I originally said about it. But this was bottled 3 months after I opened it. So I would say this whiskey may be a little bit better, closer to when you open it than it is several months later. But I'm sure and as you've seen, it drinks perfectly fine. It's good drinkable whiskey, decent amount of flavor. It's not packing what the other, some other barrel proof whiskeys have in terms of flavor. But for the price that you get this whiskey for, which is about $30, maybe a little bit less, it's a great high proof drinkable whiskey, good flavor, and I highly recommend picking one up. It's a great whiskey. So let me know what you think about Old Granddad in the comments down below. 114. So thank you for joining me once again for a speedy sample review. And as always, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at blind_reviews. You can send me an email at blindwhiskeyreviews, that's whiskey with an E, @gmail.com. And until next time, cheers.